Lil Baby's and Ro's relationship has come under scrutiny due to leaked audio, video, and a number of accusations that may bring harm neither of them anticipated. The internet is buzzing with new information about what transpired between these two Atlanta figures, including social media posts, purported jail calls, and snitching allegations. Let's now discuss Lil Baby's actual words and how he broke his silence about Ro. We must first discuss what went well between Lil Baby and Ro before discussing what went wrong. Since these two weren't initially adversaries. Initially, they were brothers. And recognizing that bond is the only way any of the other events make sense. The voice of Atlanta's streets is represented by American rapper and composer Ro, whose real name is Terrell Davis. Atlanta, Georgia, one of the most important centers of trap music, is where his adventure began. His worldview was formed by the difficulties he faced in his early years. Ro was raised in a challenging neighborhood and was subjected to poverty and adversity from a young age. The Bluff, a famously hazardous area of West Atlanta, is where I was born and raised. Ro, who recently starred in the movie Snow on the Bluff, raised his family by selling CDs and DVDs on the streets while developing his rap abilities. Ro's upbringing was similar to that of many Atlanta rappers. Despite having nothing, he managed to create something. After his 2015 single Can't Lie featuring Future was released, he initially became well-known. In 2016, he joined with Birdman's Cash Money Records and Young Scooter's Black Migo Gang. The following year, they formed a joint venture with Gucci Mane's short-lived Intercope Records offshoot 1017 Eskimo Records. This is where it becomes pertinent. Raleigh met a new rapper from Atlanta who was just getting started when he was establishing his reputation and the Fame America movement. Lil Baby, Dominique Jones, was that rapper. Growing up in Atlanta, Lil Baby hung out with buddies like Young Thug, Coach K, and P. While his friends were employed in the music industry, Lil Baby leaned more toward a life of street hustle and minor criminality. Lil Baby and Ro had a genuine bond. When Lil Baby was just starting out in the rap scene in 2017, Ro worked with him on a song that held great significance for both of them. Lil Baby was included in the Pakistani hit Lil Kali. And there was more to that partnership than just music. It was a declaration. When Baby did not yet have the commercial imprint he would eventually establish, Ro was co-signing him, putting him on, and presenting him to his world. For both Lil Kali and Pakistan, the video shoot turned into a moment in time. Ro subsequently said, "That video meant so much to me because the last time we were all together was at the Lil Kali and Pakistan video shoot." R wrote that line to the late rapper Ralo while he was incarcerated. That explains just what that partnership entailed. It was more than a song. Throughout his years in prison, Ro clung to that recollection. In addition to helping Ro gain reputation in the industry through his work with Future, Young Thug, and Lil Baby, it also helped him establish a network of personal connections that would later be put to the test by federal charges, jail time, and the politics of the Atlanta rap scene. Then, for Ro, everything changed in 2018. Prosecutors claim that when authorities searched two private aircraft linked to Ro in 2018, they discovered 964 pounds of marijuana valued at $1,840,000. As a result, he was detained in April 2018 on charges of conspiracy to possess and distribute a minimum of 1 kilogram of marijuana. Furthermore, it was stated that Ro's America Records record label was a front for the Gang for America, of whom R was the leader. Ro was therefore also accused of racketeering and money laundering. Ro's musical career was not the only thing that was derailed by that incident. His whole life was frozen by it. Because the judge thought Ro was still operating a narcotics business while incarcerated, he was initially denied bond. As the case dragged on, he sat in federal detention. Due to his possible flight risk, he was not granted pretrial release. In July 2020, he was given a $250,000 bond, but it was later withdrawn before he could be freed. This was allegedly due to calls he made from his detention cell using a cell phone, which the court believed to be planning drug trades. Ro ultimately received an 8-year term in federal prison. His sentence was reduced with time served and good behavior credits after he entered a guilty plea to charges of marijuana, firearms, and money laundering. Ro was given an early release from his 8-year prison sentence for music. Served in good behavior after receiving credit for 4 years. Here's the problem with it all. The rap game advanced while Ralo was incarcerated for 6 years. From being a rising star, Lil Baby became one of the most well-known performers worldwide. He became a household name after releasing My Turn, going platinum, and performing in arenas. And everyone had a straightforward inquiry. Did Baby recall the initial attendees? Initially, the response was yes. There was a lot of conversation when Ralo returned home in November 2023 following 6 years in federal prison. Everyone was curious about his relationship status with the folks he had left behind. For a little while, it appeared that he and Lil Baby were getting along just fine. Since leaving that month, Ralo has received a lot of love. After serving 6 years in federal prison for drug conspiracy crimes, Ralo was just released. Since his release, he has received a lot of affection from both peers and fans. The performer made it apparent that he had no grudges. Thinking back on the friends who helped him during his incarceration. "K, why are all the blogs acting as if I got out on some beef shut?" he commented in response. He continued by praising rappers who had sent him money during his downturn. He mentioned receiving $10K from Money Man, $40K from Lil Durk, and 21 Savage on his first day out. He also brought up Lil Baby, saying the artist had given him $50,000. Nor was that $50,000 a one-time event. It wasn't the only money Lil Baby had given him. Lil Baby was seen handing him another $50,000 desk in a recent video. "Please do business," Ralo said, showing off the large pile of money. Lil Baby, a longtime friend and fellow rapper from Atlanta, welcomed Ralo home and gave him a $50,000 blessing by connecting with his Pakistani colleague and Lil Kali. A video shows Ralo holding the money at a petrol station with a bunch of people appearing. This followed Ralo's 2021 disclosure that Lil Baby had sent him $50,000 while he was incarcerated. Thus, the picture is evident at this moment. While Ralo was incarcerated, Lil Baby handed him money. Baby gave Ralo more money when he got home. They connected. Together, they were captured on camera. Baby was being called out by Ralo. Everything seemed sturdy. However, that was not how everyone perceived it. While many commenters were commending Lil Baby for the generous gift, others were being critical of the gesture. Some believed he was owed money rather than a gift of music, and some even conjectured that Lil Baby had been extorted. Ralo cut off that conversation. "I just served 6 years in federal prison. I've never read or heard so much negativity in my life. Why the heck does everyone want bad on individuals that are insane? Small baby, my brother's little baby, my brother?" In late 2023, Ralo said as much. Keep it in mind, because those statements would seem to have been spoken in another lifetime due to what transpired afterward. Following Ralo's release, the honeymoon period was short-lived. In June 2024, Ralo was formally freed from Halfway House. Additionally, the tone had completely changed by 2025. The rap scene in Atlanta was on the verge of collapse. Ralo and Lil Baby were going to end up on different sides of the split by the time of the YSL Rico trial. You see, Atlanta hip-hop relies heavily on alliances. And the gaps appear quickly when those ties are put to the test, particularly by the legal system. Ralo, Lil Baby, and Young Thug's impending confrontation didn't simply break, it completely collapsed. We must examine what ignited the fire in order to comprehend why. And in the city that created trap music, that fire started with leaked audio, resurfacing interrogation film, and accusations of snitching that pitted friends against one another. The accusations of snitching that caused the Atlanta rap culture to collapse were not unexpected. While Young Thug was incarcerated pursuing his Rico case, which they had been developing for years, was boiling beneath the surface. However, those accusations were widely known in the summer of 2025. And when they did, they pulled Ralo and Lil Baby along with everyone else into the turmoil. In Atlanta hip-hop, charges of backstabbing and scandalous snitching dominated the narrative surrounding young gangsters after their release from prison. The general circle around YSL was going through a lot of rifts and lines being drawn in the sand. All of this resulted from Thugger's purportedly leaked police questioning, in which he makes reference to Pee Wee Roscoe and others, his insults of people like Ganana and Yagati, Roscoe's own accusations against Duke and Rowe, and the opposing side's accusations of claimed hypocrisy and phony indignation. Thug mentioned Pee Wee Roscoe in an old interrogation video that went viral online. The video sparked further discussion about who might have given information to law enforcement, even though Roscoe later supported young Thug. These rumors brought unsolved disputes to the public's notice and increased friction in the local hip-hop scene. Everything went south after the interrogation video was leaked. The two Atlanta rappers' long-simmering spat erupted online when they traded heated accusations on X over purported snitching. Resurfaced audio that seemed to show young Thug mentioning Pee Wee Roscoe during a police inquiry was the source of the back and forth. Rowe was among the first to react, and he didn't hold back. No need to add the young Thug's crucifixion to this. He used full caps when writing. He said that he would pursue Thug until Baby Wem begged him to stop. I may not even like you, but I'm with everyone who's against that __. However, the matter became more intimate as it was no longer solely about the video of young Thug's interrogation. There were more audio leaks. Due in part to young Thug's purportedly leaked questioning, lines had been drawn in the sand. Since then, other audio leaks have surfaced, including a brief exchange between Thug and 21 Savage. The Atlanta MCs talked about Bread and Butter, a Gunna song in which Gunna had a few choice lines aimed at Lil Baby during Thug's captivity. Thug agreed that Baby started the gun dices too soon, but 21 Savage expressed the opinion that people criticizing Gunna were doing it for influence that was a problem because it meant Thug had been talking about Lil Baby behind his back. Rowe and others, at least, decided to read it that way. Then there was the purportedly leaked jail call between Lil Baby and young Thug. The situation was exacerbated by a recently released jail call purportedly between young Thug and Lil Baby. Wham! Don't ever get too rocking with a rat, Thug allegedly advised Lil Baby in the audio, alluding to P. What was already a roaring fire was made worse by the audio leak. In a purportedly leaked call between the rapper and Lil Baby, young Thug referred to QCP as a rat. Following the release of the video, QCP posted statements on his Instagram story refuting Thug's accusations that he was a snitch. DJ Academics posted a few snippets of the statements. However, Aro used all of this information that had been disclosed as proof of a bigger trend as well as ammunition against Thug. He said that relationships in the city, especially the one between Rowe and Lil Baby, had been poisoned by young Thug. In a heated social media dispute with young Thug over allegations of snitching, Rowe said he had lied to the federal government. Our claims that in addition to lying, Thugger instructed Lil Baby to distance himself from Rowe. Well, I lied to the feds for real, and you still called Lil Baby and told him to cut me off because I wasn't right. So now you are going to have to go through what I and Ganano went through, he wrote on X, accompanied by a series of images displaying court records that demonstrated his alleged false cooperation with the authorities. Rowe's main grievance was that charge. He publicly expressed his belief that young Thug had called Lil Baby and instructed him to disconnect Rowe. That, according to Rowe, was the reason Lil Baby stopped dealing with him. Thug poisoned the well, not because of anything Rowe did. In social media messages and a live stream, Rowe named rappers from Atlanta and accused young Thug of putting obstacles in their way. He said that even after he confessed to lying to federal officials, Thug cut him off and allegedly urged Lil Baby to get away. He claimed that artists' rising mistrust was a result of this behavior. Thug was not amused by those allegations. Thug responded by drawing a clear distinction between roles and his case. You didn't lie, according to your friend. You really did tell on actual individuals. You mentioned that someone was truly arrested for anything. To try to convince the police that we weren't at odds with Lil Wayne, I honestly made the error of claiming that we sold him. Can you see the difference? The Thug continued after that. He continued. Not to mention that you promised Fonnie Willis that you would speak up for YFN Luchksi and me in order to get us out of jail. The counter-accusation was that, according to Thug, Ro had offered to testify against Yfen Luchksi and Thug in their individual cases. If is accurate, Ro's reputation would suffer greatly. In response, Ro wrote another post outlining his circumstances and stating that he was incarcerated at the federal level while Thug was incarcerated in Fulton County. In the same manner as Ro had in earlier blogs, he likewise insisted that the Thug provide evidence to support his assertions. So, my friend, let's listen to it. __, I went federal. You went Fulton County. Mouth. Did I inform on him? I have never in my life encountered a fanny. Present your evidence in the same way that I do. Just so you know, I was among the few who shouted, Free Lachichi. You're a snake. The true cause of Atlanta's problems is N. You believed yourself to be John Gotti. You're a punk on the streets. Remember that Big Boo took care of your bum ass to the arrow? Lil Baby got caught in the thick of the brutal back and forth. Lil Baby saw this unfold for weeks without speaking out in public, whether he wanted to or not. Thug was being called out by Ro. Ro was being called out by Thug. Audio leaks continued to appear. Every outlet was being accused of snitching, and Baby's name kept coming up. Ro bemoaned how, despite their early professional closeness, Baby later sided with young Thug. Ro's comments on Instagram about not wanting to get close to Baby if they ever saw each other were also noticed by No Jumper. That was a subtle threat, or at the very least an indication that Ro's feelings for Baby had changed from hurt to animosity. With Ro in the center of a new scandal that targeted both Lil Baby and Young Thug, the YSL Rico trials aftermath continued to shatter Atlanta's rap culture, and Ro was not letting up. In the past, he said that Thugger was in charge of creating a divide in the Atlanta hip-hop culture, which was flourishing up until a few years ago. In an Instagram conversation with DJ Academics, he claimed that Thug owed a number of Atlanta musicians. He requested an apology from Thug and Baby Jade, whom Ro had earlier referred to as clout chasers. They must give Ganana an apology. They must offer Ro an apology. He reminded Academics that they should offer an apology to anyone they had hurt. He also referred to the falling out as emotional harm. A man who recently lost a business contact would not use the phrase emotional damage, therefore, it's worth pausing for a bit. Those are the words of someone who truly believed that a member of his family had betrayed him. And according to Ro, Young Thug, not Lil Baby, was the one who betrayed him. Not initially, anyhow. However, Baby did not say what Ro wanted to hear when he eventually spoke. The relationship between Ro and Lil Baby was very different. Wham responded with, "Why are you acting like I switch up for slime?" Lil Baby's Instagram comment, "You know the business. What you mean," said it all. He didn't deny picking Young Thug's side, to start. In essence, he asked, "Why are you acting like this is news?" Secondly, he remarked, "You know the business." This suggests that Ro was acting foolishly to win over the public's sympathies even though he was fully aware of the current situation. Thirdly, the tone was contemptuous rather than contrite or conflicted. What Ro had been saying all along was validated by that answer. That Lil Baby had picked Young Thug over him, but it also disclosed something that Ralo might not have anticipated. The baby wasn't upset about it. He was getting enough sleep. He stood on the decision he had taken. Lil Baby joined Thug in retaliating against Ro after making that decision. In a video, Thug also responded by flaunting his Gatorade tank top. "You're right, I'm not a gangster," he replied. R made fun of these comments in a video, implying that Thugger could never be who he says he is. My G stands for Gator. Thug then moved on to the music. Young Thug made straight fun of Rob49 in a recent Instagram clip of their hyped collaboration that DJ Academics TV posted. He sealed the wound, saying, "Keep my mouth shut. I am nothing like Ro." We now had Ro on one side and Lil Baby and Young Thug on the other. A bond that existed before Baby's song became well known. Both parties were publicly announcing the breakup of a friendship based on common Atlanta roots, money, and music. Later, during a lengthy interview, Young Thug provided additional background information. In a 3-hour discussion with Big Bank for the Perspectives with Bank podcast, Young Thug discussed a number of themes, including the recent occurrences. When the subject of beef was brought up, Thug quickly stated that he had only ever been involved in one feud and took credit for helping to resolve a number of other conflicts. He implied during that interview that Ralo and PRP Thomas, the CEO of Quality Control, would collaborate with prosecutors on various occasions. He asserted that Ralo will stand up to Thug and defend Lucci. Thug said that since R would have been incarcerated at the time, Ralo was not directly aware of the conflict between YSL and those associated with Lucci. Thug said that he had no problems with Ralo in spite of this. He told Big Bank about what appeared to be phone conversations he had with Ralo while incarcerated, claiming to have told Ralo that he was praying for him. That contrast is intriguing. Thug was accusing R, on the one hand, of being prepared to testify against him. However, he was asserting that he had prayed for Ralo during his incarceration. This whole thing is so complicated because of that push and pull. These are not random people making jabs at one another. The repercussions are made much worse by the fact that these individuals formerly sincerely cared about one another. Ralo didn't take the interview lightly. In a recent video that he uploaded to Instagram, Ralo responded to the accusations leveled against him. "You lied and sobbed during the interview. I haven't done anything to any of you," are stated in a video that researchers were able to capture. Back in June 2018, he questioned how he could tell the feds about future events, claiming that Thug had no documentation to support any of the allegations he was making. "Parap is law in the streets," Ralo added. He also asked in the caption that Thug provide receipts for everything he said happened during the interview, saying, "Either you're hating or you're being misled. You must zoom out in order to fully comprehend the gravity of what transpired between Lil Baby and Ralo, as this is more than just a falling out between two rappers. This is about Atlanta hip-hop as a whole being torn apart at the seams." Many Atlanta hip-hop divisions, primarily related to Young Thug and his dynamics in that ecosystem, have their roots in the YSL RICO trial. That trial and its aftermath are responsible for everything that has occurred, including the accusations of snitching, the audio leak, and the strained relations. Consider about it. Young Thug, Lil Baby, Gunner, 21 Savage, and numerous more Atlanta musicians were part of an interconnected network prior to the RICO case. They worked together on music. They openly backed one another. They moved together, or at least appeared to. However, everything was altered by the RICO case. It made interpersonal ties subject to legal pressure. People were compelled to make decisions about that they never wanted to. It fostered an atmosphere in which allegations of disloyalty turned into weapons and allegiance became money. An excellent illustration of this is Ralo's predicament. In 2018, he was sent to a federal prison. The whole environment changed while he was imprisoned. The alliances that were in place when he entered had entirely changed by the time he returned home in 2023. Lil Baby was closely associated with Young Thug and had ascended to the top of the game.